Well, we're starting 10 minutes early. No apologies from me on that one. And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a Prime Minister's Questions response stream, reaction stream, video stream. Yeah. We are going to be going through the PMQs for September the 30th, 2020. Before that, though, I should apologise in advance. Especially to anyone who watches this on playback, because you're going to notice, and you can see it on the screen now, the video doesn't take up the whole screen, but you see a green border there. I'll be honest, it's hard to explain why they couldn't do it in higher quality. It's in 480p. That part annoys me. The part that's not so complicated is they've got sign language on the other side. So hello Jason Woods, Cyrene, Otaku Gamer Judas, Russell Burnham, Echo, hope you're well. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. PMQs, I've watched it once, just for the sake of it. I was going to watch it once more before this stream, but I couldn't be bothered. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. I had other things to attend to, so I wasn't able to watch it a second time. I know it's essentially going to be a repeat of last week, but there are some key points that are worth addressing. Hello, number one. Hope you're well. Hello, Karma. So yeah, the video isn't the right format. It's lower quality. I have watched it enough times. No, the once was enough, really, because it's just the same thing. And even the SMP paper pervert questions are also trash. Kinda, yeah. Pretty much just trash. Great Sky Troll anti-drama. Will you take a poke at the US debate? Trups and I were going to do a live stream of it. But we are going to instead, we're going to use drinking rules and we're going to watch it together, but we'll have to obviously mute it for the stream. And we shall, or we'll borrow Cog's clipped version, because I know he's got clips of it. And we should then be able to do a drinking stream with you and review it, laugh at it, have some fun. It won't be this Friday, though, because he is... PMQ does, in fact, stand for Prime Minister's Questions. Yes, it does, Jason. And gloves. Ooh. The debate looks hilarious. I saw some fantastic videos, memes, and GIFs. And obviously the usual suspects all saying Biden won. I'll be honest. The only winners there were America. Sorry, I meant the international stage. We were laughing our heads off at it. It was fantastic to watch. I knew he was going to bully Biden. We all knew it. Drink anytime you see a straight white man on BBC. That's a discussion for another day. But yeah, the PMQs was a bit mild by comparison. Excuse me. Do I have a drink of water? I still have water. One moment. Hydrate, everyone. You stay hydrated, kids. Yes. I really should just use a bottle instead of my gigantic mastodon tankard. Somewhat anticlimactic to, sip water from a large stein, a large ceramic one with a metal top. The debate was funny to watch, bits I saw of, and I do want to watch the whole thing through, but obviously my workload makes it impossible at the moment. I have pressing concerns to take care of. So yes, I will look at it eventually. Trups and I do still plan. There are going to be 2 more debates anyway. We will live stream one of those. It'll be a bit tricky, but we can do it. And we'll be able to then laugh, drink. I know Sinatra posted on Twitter some drinking rules. Based on what I saw clip-wise, people are getting absolutely slightly charged and absolutely fucked off their faces. So, hello Janelle, hope you're well. The debate, yeah, I think everyone needs some of that. Anyway, we should get into this because, my apologies, I appear to have a dry throat. I do apologise. Hello, I'm 05 Anti, hope you're well. And there are only losers. Indeed there are. Yes, anyway, we're going to dive into PMQs. And is this at the start? It is at the start. Okay. That's the one. So you see you've got the sign language guy. Yeah, I'll even show you the resolution look 480. This is what we're operating with, people. I could have gone with, like, there's a video, but a Telegraph also did a live stream response. Hang on, is this? Nah, it's 2 weeks ago. That's not the same one. But this is the best resolution we got, sadly. So I do apologise. Apparently, the border image we have here, the blue screen border image here, yeah, that's better resolution than the bloody video. Yes, by all means, DM me the drinking rules. I think I saw Sinatra post them on Twitter. If they're the same ones, yeah, people got absolutely fucked, quite frankly. Based on the number of times Mr. Trump interrupted Biden. Yes. I'll be honest, first debate, you're not expecting much anyway. But as a massive derailment, we should be focusing on this. It's not as entertaining, I will grant you that. But it's less likely to get me a copyright claim.
We now come to questions to Prime Minister Jason McCartney.
Number one, please, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I know the whole House will want to join me in expressing my deepest sympathies to the families and friends of Sergeant Matt Ratana, who was tragically killed in Croydon on Friday.
Was that the one with the sword, or was that the one where a guy wasn't searched properly and he pulled a gun out and shot a police officer? Excuse me. I have to cough again. I do apologize. I have the most irritating dry throat. I do apologise. US presidential debate aren't debate, just reality. It's pantomime, you're right. But it wasn't entertaining pantomime. Also, hello French Ferret SP1P3. Hope you're well. Yeah, so this was a tragic incident. There are two, and I do apologise for not knowing which one it is, but I know there are a number of incidents over the last week, and honestly, it was the gun one. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that was bad.
It is a reminder of the huge debt we owe to those who put their own lives at risk to keep us safe every day. Mr. Speaker, tomorrow sees the start of Black History Month. For generations, countless...
Wait, the UK have Black History Month? I didn't know this. I've clearly not been in the education loop for a long time, and I know many will have debates about whether or not the UK should have a Black History Month. Quite frankly, I don't care. I know my history, so I'll be honest. Don't really care too much about what history is taught, as long as it is taught, you know, there's always going to be a bias. Of course there is. Fuck off, dry throat, please. There's always going to be a bias, yes, but as long as they present the information as is without offering opinion, that's better. But then there is this constant force feeding, and that's a worry. Black History Month apparently is a thing. How many? We won't know until next year, French Ferret, when the next census, I believe, is done.
These people of African and Caribbean descent have been shaping our nation's story, making a huge difference to our national and cultural life, and helping to make Britain a better place to be. And this is a fantastic moment to celebrate their contribution to our country. Mr. Speaker, this meeting I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others in addition to my duties in this House. I shall have further such meetings later today.
I should now, for the sake of clarity, just state, I don't care about any type of history in the sense of separating it by a particular genre. I don't care for it. Unless you're learning about a subject, I don't really care. And Black History is important to UK history, I will agree, if you're teaching British history. But I do recall my own history in school, and they taught anything but British history. It was really strange to learn about anything but English history or British history, right? And obviously, people should be taught about Windrush generations, of course, and countries that are members of the Commonwealth. And hello, Mazzy May and Christina Zamizzi. Hope you're well. And hello, Grey Day and UNG.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The events sector, which includes weddings, festivals, conferences and music events, supports nearly 1 million jobs and is worth over £30 billion to the UK economy. It's been devastated by COVID. Revenue is down 90% since last year. Will the Prime Minister look at financial support focusing on grants, not just loans, especially for freelancers, including musicians and performers? And will the government support proactive COVID-secure testing events to boost confidence and start to allow the events industry to support itself?
So there is a big issue in the government right now where many MPs are taking the stance of anyone that is anywhere near or could be regarded as a form of self-employed should be helped. The government's position is, but you guys could be on benefits, yo. Right. Okay. Well, I'm just going to, for the sake of it, point out, because of what's happened, industries that do involve a lot of self-employed people are being decimated. That is a fact. The government likes to brag about how much money it's spent on this bollocks. And I'd like to point out, it doesn't matter how much money you spend, the economy's not going to grow if those businesses can't go back to work.
Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend is absolutely right to champion the sector in the way that he does. The £1.57 billion Culture Recovery Fund is clearly intended to support those organisations and the freelancers that he mentions. I think the vision that he lays out for people going to events where people could be tested before they go is absolutely right. And I hope that when that day comes, the public will show their support for this vital sector by visiting theatres as they reopen.
I firmly believe the moment this is all swept away, the moment that gigs, that movies, that theatres are all open, they're going to be sold out for quite some time. Any band that plays or tours, they're going to be selling out tours. Venues are going to be fighting with artists to get space and time. It's going to be quite interesting. Anyway, yes, money don't replace jobs. Yeah, you're quite right, which is the problem. I don't think they understand, because they think if you're not working, then you should just go on benefits. But the entire point of being self-employed was to not go on benefits or be in charge of something and then you have it taken away. As someone who's self-employed, I lost so much work. I really did. And your solution was for me to go on benefits, and I swore I would never go on benefits ever again. I stand by that. I won't. Not if I can help it, and I will do everything I can to avoid it like the plague.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join the Prime Minister in sending my deepest condolences to the family and friends of Sergeant Matt Ratana? This was a truly appalling incident, and I have to say, every time I contemplate the circumstances, I shudder, and I suspect I'm speaking for a lot of people when I say that. It reminds us of the huge debt that we owe all of our police officers and the risks that they take every day to keep us safe. Mr. Speaker, over 16 million people, that's about 1 in 4, are now living under local restrictions. In recent months, 48 areas in England have gone into local restrictions, but only one has ever come out and stayed out. That's Luton. Why does the Prime Minister think that is?
This is a very odd question, asking why one town managed to come out. Because I felt like he was trying to imply something, but I honestly have absolutely no idea what he was trying to imply. Okay, I'm going to cough again. I'm going to mute. 1 second. I don't know why I now have the most irritating dry cough when I was fine streaming Assassin's Creed 3 on Twitch. Really? You're frustrating. Do I have any fishermen? I don't even have a sore throat. This is stupid. But yes, Luton. Don't know why. I don't know what he was trying to imply. So, I'll be honest, it felt like a wasted question without there being something more to it. Although there's a kind of, even though it's 4 ACP, is it me, or does there appear to be some kind of knowing look on his face?
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the right honourable gentleman is absolutely right to draw attention to the importance of local lockdown measures, and I can just tell him and tell the House that since I last updated the House, he's absolutely right to say that there is now a serious and growing problem with the resurgence of the virus, and that's why we brought forward the package of measures that we did last week. The reason, I think, for the success of Luton is that local people pulled together to depress the virus, to follow the guidance, and that is the way forward for the entire country. And that is what we did before in March and April, and I've no doubt that that is what we're going to do again.
So, does anyone else think, by the way, that was completely wasted because it just gave Boris a free answer? Right? Maybe I'm the only one that thinks this, I don't know. It just comes across as a bit weak, and I'm not entirely sure what the point was. But if anyone else can work it out, by all means, let me know.
Mr. Speaker, when local restrictions were introduced, the Prime Minister described them as a whack-a-mole strategy. That implies that at some stage the mole goes down and restrictions are lifted.
You've overthought the analogy. You do realise some people just make those analogies just cause, and it makes sense-ish. Oh dear.
But in fact, in some lockdown areas, infection rates are still going up. And in towns like Bradford, Bury and Oldham, restrictions have now been in place for months. For many of those communities that are affected, things feel like they're getting worse, not better. So I ask a question on their behalf. What is the Prime Minister's strategy for bringing these cases out of restrictions so they can see their families again?
I say, stick them all in an ISO cube. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually keen to know what the Prime Minister thinks.
Well, Mr. Speaker, nobody wants to impose restrictions of this kind, whether in Bradford or anywhere else in the country. And we work very closely with local authorities to ensure that we have the right mix of the approach that we adopt. But frankly, when you have the virus going up in the way that it is now in some parts of the country, you have to take strong local action. I think one important difference between the way the virus is behaving this time and in the spring is it does appear at the moment as though the illness is more localised. That's why you need direct local action of the kind that we're taking, in addition to the strong national measures that we announced last week and which he supported, and whose effect we hope to see in the coming days and weeks.
I feel there was an answer in there somewhere.
Mr. Speaker, one of the major problems, as we've seen in the last 24 hours, is widespread confusion about the local restrictions. And I don't just mean the Prime Minister not knowing his own rules. Having sat opposite the Prime Minister at PMQs every week, that didn't come as a surprise to me. But let me quote to him the Conservative council leader in Bolton, the Conservative leader. He said this about the government's handling of restrictions. It's breeding resentment. It's become too complex, too complicated. People feel very let down and very frustrated and very forgotten. Mr. Speaker, if the Prime Minister doesn't understand the rules and his own council leaders are complaining about mixed messages, how does the Prime Minister expect the rest of the country to understand and follow the rules?
On multiple occasions, the governments have been caught out breaking their own rules. Hello, Discnar, Captain Bees, and Sim Wilby. The mime guy, I don't know what he's doing here. I really don't. It actually annoys me. I should have stretched the video, but then I realised and I'll show you this. The resolution is 480p. This is the best I've got, okay? That's it. Just honestly. It doesn't yet beat. But then it's so grainy. It's so grainy. I don't know.
Mr. Speaker, actually, I think that the people in this country do understand and overwhelmingly do follow the rules, and that, I may say, is in spite of the efforts of the leader of the opposition continually to try to snipe from the sidelines, to undermine what we're trying to do, and he mentions the restrictions in the northeast, and I cleared that matter up as fast as I could. It's very clear that you shouldn't mix indoors, either at home or in a hospitality setting, and you should avoid.
You should also not mix your drinks. What's your bloody point?
socialising. That we need to apply that in the northeast because that is where it is spiking. I think
we should build a wall around the northeast, especially. Keep those northerners locked up. Yes, we don't want that oikish riffraff down here. Hello, Scotty8472. Hope you're well. Hello, honest person. Did he get the rule of 666 from the secret meeting with Gates? Everyone go onto Twitter and just at Bill Gates and say this is all your fault. I want to stay on this platform. I don't want to get yeeted. It's just a joke, YouTube. Just a joke.
I think people do understand why we're doing that. I think people too do get it. I think people want us to defeat this virus, and they want to see us doing it together.
Actually, we want this over with so we can go back to bloody work. We want to be sure that we're not going to lose our work within the next 5 minutes. We want to be certain that when we go hang out with our mates, we don't have to have tests or sign in with NHS COVID apps to every location we go to. We want to be able to go outside and use public transport or just go and hang out with people without having to use our elbow to shake hands when we could just shake hands or high five or, fornicate in the streets as is customary in any area of the UK that is trash, so the entire UK. I think it's the simple things. Oh, and not wearing masks everywhere, because seriously, I'm not against wearing them as part of a costume. And I'm also not against wearing a gaiter when it's a bit cold, because they're quite handy. I need to get a new one, actually. But I'll be honest, no. I'd like to see the bottom half of people's faces. Yeah. Come on. If you want to wear a mask, I could easily go and, get some paper, cut out some eye holes, and, uncover the mouth part, like Kane's mask, but paper, because I'm really far on.
Mr. Speaker, I'd say, can I invite him? Sometimes he backs the government, sometimes he snipes from the side.
Stop with the deflection. He just asked a question. He wasn't trying to snipe. His job is, and I'll be honest, this is where Boris's emotional irrationality comes to play here. He is paid opposition. His party is paid handsomely to oppose you when they can. They've found a weakness because you guys keep breaking the rules. I keep slapping my leg with a back scratcher. If you can hear that, I do apologise. It's just bouncing against my thick thighs.
Can I ask him to be a little bit consistent, show some support? Let's hear him try and instill some confidence.
Evil, thank you for the £6.66 donation. All part of the plan. That's very generous of you. All goes towards a good cause. My new chair. Yes, I need one because of this. It's a very, very quiet chair.
Confidence in the British people in the measures that he supports, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the idea that anybody who asks the Prime Minister a question at Prime Minister's questions is
French ferret, jeez, it's forbidden to be masked into and having to wear a mask, damn. And hello, Globus Hystericus, hope you're well.
undermining the government effort is wearing a bit
And hello, Andrew Torres, hope you're well, by the way.
thin. We have openly supported the restrictions, but it's perfectly reasonable to ask why they're not working. Mr. Speaker,
They aren't working. Because if we're going to go by... Let's indulge this for a second. It does make the sound of my fun times. That's why you only ever hear it with me on the chair. If you're going to indulge the government here for a second, the infection rate is being shown to going up. Okay, well, based on your restrictions, we also know that you are hammering the pubs and, the hospitality sector with restrictions, and yet they contribute less than 5% of the infection rate. Turns out COVID-19 is also a heavy drinker. or alcohol as a natural deterrent. I think I found the cure, boys. Time to get the whiskey. It's the schools, you idiot. You absolute mong. The schools, if we're going to indulge by your own statistics, is entirely... Bye, Janelle, thank you for being here. If we're going to go by your own numbers, the schools where the highest percentage is in the 50s or 40s even. It's a ridiculously high percentage. And yet it is the pubs taking the hammering. And as someone who cleans a pub, they need the work, and by extension, I do. You take away that extra hour's pay, someone's going to take that extra hour of pay out of mine by taking my work away. I'd like that to not go, thank you.
I spoke to the leader of Newcastle Council yesterday. He said the other big problem, apart from government messaging, is the lack of economic support being provided to local communities under restrictions. Newcastle Council indicate that by the end of the year, 10,000 jobs in hospitality will have been lost. Many businesses are forced to stay closed. Prime Minister, but for these extraordinary restrictions, these are viable jobs. These businesses are doing the right thing. Why has the government decided that these jobs aren't worth saving?
Because they don't care. There's the answer. Now let's hear what Boris says, which I'm sure will be a very grown-up response of, I'm now going to flex about what we've actually done and not answer the question.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as I said repeatedly, we're putting our arms around the whole of the UK economy. We will do everything we can to save every job. I must say, I saw the leader of the Labour leader of Newcastle, and I was rather surprised by what he said, because actually, to the best of my knowledge, they were calling for the measures that we put in, and the best way to protect our jobs and our economy is to continue to work together to.
Hello, Count Dibula and Mr. Brushface. I haven't seen you in a while, Dibs. Yes, Tubby is going to be on later, don't you worry. The paper pervert, I've got you, fam. I've got you.
Comply with the measures to drive down the virus, to keep our children in education, which is an absolute priority for this country, and to keep the economy moving. That's what we want to do. Now, that's the strategy, that's the approach that he supported last week. He now says he simultaneously attacks and doesn't attack the restrictions. Which is it? He's got to make up his mind. If he supports the government policy, if he supports these restrictions, will he say so now?
Yes.
Do you notice how he didn't... I mean, no offence to you, Boris, but... The look on Angela Rayner's face over there, pretty much just, well, you can't really tell, it's too grainy, but that expression kind of sums it up. Hello, Nate Morningstar, hope you're well. Our job, you mean my job as Prime Minister? Yeah. Something tells me Boris has forgotten his title. My bookmark is a metal feather. It's quite elaborate and lovely. I use it in the book I work on videos for, my notebook. I use a different bookmark for every book I've kind of used. And the current one is a feather. Yeah. Next one will be a Star Trek badge. I had to look in my drawer because my next notebook's in there. I do not have a collection of notebooks, though. Get off my back.
I support the restrictions. I've done so every single time the Prime Minister's introduced it. He well knows that. The question I've asked is, because of the restrictions, lots of people's jobs are at risk. Lots of people's jobs, 10,000 people's jobs in Newcastle in hospitality because of the restrictions. I support the restrictions. What I'm asking the Prime Minister is, can the economic support go in for those that will lose their jobs? And he didn't answer that. There's 10,000 people that wanted an answer to that last question because they're going to lose their jobs by Christmas. Prime Minister, you really should have answered it. The reality is that the Chancellor's made a political choice to reduce economic support just when the new health restrictions are coming in. If the Prime Minister doesn't accept that from me, maybe he'll listen to the following example from the Chancellor's own constituency. This is the business owner. Prime Minister, you might want to listen to what he has to say. We own a wedding venue in Richmond, North Yorkshire. The Chancellor's latest plan does nothing to help us. We can't employ people to work in events that the government are not allowing to take place. Our events team are looking in the face of redundancy, as we simply can't afford to pay wages when events are in lockdown. These jobs here are viable if only the government would allow us to return to work. My events team, he goes on to say, are talented and fantastic, and it's an insult to suggest their jobs are not worth saving. So this isn't about supporting restrictions, Prime Minister. It's about what the Prime Minister has to say to those that are at risk of losing their jobs and businesses. What, on behalf of the Chancellor, does he say to that business owner?
Right, before we answer that question, Christina, you're right. There are usually competent people that the leader of a party or country should delegate the work to. Sadly, those that have been placed in charge of these issues are undeniably incompetent, and their behaviour. So sadly, the buck now has to stop at Boris's feet, which I would rather it didn't if he has people who can do it, because well, his ministers are kind of fucking it up for him. Yeah, I do apologise, but if I stretch the video, it becomes even grainier. I may as well just have it at 240p at that point, or 220, or whatever the bloody resolution is. 144p. Yeah. Excuse me.
Look, it's very important, but just to remind everybody, it is Prime Minister's questions, not opposition questions. Prime Minister.
You should also remind Keir Starmer, all comments are to go through the chair, which means Keir Starmer is not to address directly the Prime Minister, and yet he has done that on multiple occasions during this session. Just wanted to put it out there. It is a breach of parliamentary protocol.
Well, I'm very grateful, Mr. Speaker, because I think that the answer is very clear. And I think last week the Labour Party supported the package, the Winter Economic Plan that the Chancellor put forward. And I think that most people looking at the 190 billion that we've invested in supporting people across this country will recognise, which is, by the way, the furlough plan alone was far more generous, is far more generous than any other European country. I think most people around the world can see that this government is putting its arms around the people of this country.
I don't think that was the question, though.
Helping them through, and we will help. And I know that the wedding sector has had a particularly tough time, and of course I feel for the gentleman that he refers to in Richmond in Yorkshire, who wants his business to go ahead. But the best way forward for him and for all other business in the country is if we all pull together now, get the virus down, keep the economy moving, and in the meantime.
The problem is, the measures keep the virus down, but when people go back to work, based on your own standards, let's just indulge this again, please. I don't want to keep saying that. But the moment people go back to work, they're back in lockdown again. This is not going to work because it means everyone has to stop. I don't know. It doesn't solve the problem because the problem requires a cure if that is what you're after. You don't suppress a virus. No, you do. You suppress it when you're all indoors. Hello, Gemma Deering. I did see your comment on today's video, by the way. I will be going through those after this stream, I promise. I will say hi there as well. Hope you're well. I just think it's a really stupid position. Because if we're all indoors, yes, it goes down. But there's no cure, so we all have to go back eventually. And you're all talking about working, the economy having to work at the same time, but people aren't able to work. That's a fact. So how are you meant to boost or work or have the economy go forward or grow if people can't do anything? These local lockdowns I can understand, but in reality it will just cause uncertainty in the market, because people won't know if they have a job, they won't know if they have a business, they won't know if they have clients. And I don't think you thought this through.
Yes, of course, this government is able to supply the support that is needed, which, by the way, is only possible because we had a prudent, sensible, one-nation Conservative party in power over the last 10 years, and the Labour Party would have bankrupted the country.
I don't want to. I don't know why he had to throw that in there, but okay.
Here's Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, it's refreshing to hear the Prime Minister trying to dig the Chancellor out of a hole for a change. But I don't think that will wash. The Prime Minister just doesn't get it. The problem with his argument is this. These are viable jobs, Prime Minister, but for the restrictions. The vacancies for new jobs just don't exist. And the training scheme the Prime Minister announced yesterday doesn't start until April. There is a gap here, and the Prime Minister shouldn't be so tin-eared to those whose jobs are at risk.
Conservative position is if you can't work, go on benefits. That's their. There is one more self-employment thing coming, but it's 20% of your tax return. It's not great. I'm just saying. And if you get, and there will be a form of furlough that covers, I'll be honest, not much more than what self-employed people get. It's useless. The lockdowns kind of need to come to an end at some point. Yeah, because this is going to cost too much. And yes, as earlier referenced, it will bankrupt grandchildren at some point. Thank the Lord I don't plan to have kids. Hello, Leona. Hope you're well.
Finally, Mr. Speaker, tomorrow marks the start of Black History Month. As well as celebrating the huge contribution black people have made to the UK, we must also reflect on the present and the structural inequalities and discrimination that sadly persist. For example, black women in the UK are 5 times more likely to die in pregnancy and childbirth.
Okay, so just for the sake of it, because I don't actually know much about pregnancy for obvious reasons, I have to ask this question. How is it a structural issue when black women have complications during pregnancy? Someone want to help me here? Because it doesn't feel like a structural issue. That feels like a different kind of issue entirely.
That is truly shocking. Will the Prime Minister commit to addressing this?
And also, who's collecting these statistics in the first place and then devolving it by race? It's such an. By the way, I'm just going to say for the sake of it, discussions of race in this particular context make me feel really awkward, because I feel like they're supposed to have an answer, but they're not willing to say it because they don't want to offend somebody. And thankfully, somebody has done it in the chat for me. Thank you, honest person. I think that is a factor, by the way. I don't quite understand this question. I really don't. Why am I slapping my hand? Hello, Morris Minor. Hope you're well. I like reminding people he's like one of my oldest subs. Hi. Hope you're well. I don't know. I don't know why the question is asked in the first place. The structural inequality, and then this is referenced, and then pregnancy. I'm sorry. Is it due down to stress from not having a father? I don't know what the answer is. I don't. I'm going to stop before I say something even more racist.
And launch an urgent investigation into the issue.
The right honourable gentleman knows full well that this government has launched an urgent investigation into inequalities across the whole of society, and we will certainly address them in a thoroughgoing way. And I'm amazed that he seems ignorant of that fact. Absolutely amazed. I mean, Mr. Speaker, it is a quite extraordinary state of affairs. The right honourable gentleman's general line of questioning, because one moment he's supporting the restrictions, the next moment he seems to be opposing them. One day they're theoretically marching side by side with the rest of us trying to defeat coronavirus. The next minute they're off in the undergrowth firing from the sidelines. And I must repeat it. It was the Right Honourable Lady, the Shadow Education Secretary, who really.
This is no light. This is the funniest thing I heard all week, and I wished I'd remembered it for today's midweek Moisky news, because it was so funny. Just give it a second.
Revealed what Labour is all about, what the opposition is all about. She said this was a good crisis which they intended to exploit. We see this.
That, by the way, is not a joke. Hello, White. Hope you're well. Haven't seen you in a while.
See this as a moment for the nation to come together, and that's what we're doing. And we are taking the tough decisions that will get this country forward. Take this country forward. Not just the lifetime skills guarantee, which he was kind enough to mention, but also the huge investments we're making in the NHS, in our policing, in affordable housing. This is the government, this is the party that is taking the tough decisions to take this country forward, while I'm afraid, Mr. Speaker, once again, all they want to do is snipe from the sidelines.
Right, let's put him on the screen and get to this. Where is he? There he is. There he is, everyone. You've been waiting for him. The Fiddler. What a rubbish criminal name. The Fiddler. I'm not sure who in this picture fiddles more. The paper pervert or this hand rubber.
Of the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition of the murder of Sergeant Matt Ratana, a truly shocking incident, and we should applaud the efforts of our police and our emergency services who do a wonderful job to keep the rest of us safe. Our thoughts are very much with Matt's family, friends and...
Oh, and to answer Captain B's, I actually can't remember. I really can't. I will make it a point for future streams to post the link of the respective chair in the chat, in the description at least, later. But yes, I will do that. I do apologise for not remembering.
Colleagues, and indeed to associate myself with the remarks of the Leader of the Opposition on Black History Month and the responsibility that we all have to eradicate inequality. Mr Speaker, yesterday the Scottish Social Attitudes Survey revealed
Cringe.
that just 15% of people trust the UK government to work in Scotland's interest.
You don't suppose that's because it's a poll done by Scottish people who naturally hate English people? Not even a joke. The most popular videos on this channel are me railing on the SNP, right? In those same comments, I've got Scots people going off on me saying I'm just helping the SNP because I'm talking shit about the SNP. And that I won't talk shit about the other parties, even though in subsequent videos they never bothered to watch. I railed on Labour, Lib Dems and Conservatives. In fact, I'm quite consistent that I think they're all shit. But yes, the Scottish people generally don't care for the English. That is very much known, proven and established. So your poll was biased from the offset, you absolute paper-fiddling bollock burner.
Last night, Scotland's MPs voted overwhelmingly against the Tory power grab bill.
The Internal Market Bill, it's not a power grab bill. I read it thoroughly myself. It really isn't. It actually devolves powers. But sure, it's a power grab. It's actually what it's meant to be. Is akin to that of the single market within the EU. It's that idea of having security within the United Kingdom with that integrity, right? But no, he doesn't get it. I'm cool, am I? Yay, I'm finally cool. It only took 34 years.
But the Prime Minister forced it through anyway, in the biggest attack on our Scottish Parliament in the history of devolution.
You are so small-minded, but I do like your tie.
So can I...
Aha! Best part is no one can see it. It's a red tartan tie, by the way.
ask the Prime Minister if he cares to listen, and it's not a difficult question. Why does he think the people of Scotland have no trust in him?
Because you're Scottish and you don't like the English. You never do. You never have. You absolute cretins. People who blindly hate someone just cause are pricks. Simple as that. You know what I find fascinating? My sister, youngest sister, she went up to Scotland to go look at a wedding venue over the weekend. And it's in Scotland. I've never been there, by the way. And yet they're having it next year. I might reach out to Tailed Feature and see if he wants to hang out or something. She came back with a shot glass. It's on my desk here. It's got 2 Scottish flags on a bikini top. My shot glass has tits. They're about as real as Scotland's SNP integrity. Yeah. She gave me 2 power banks of Batman and the Joker, because that's Scottish, from the Menkind store. Some ice cubes, the stone cubes for your whiskey, and a boombox, which I've got next to me actually. But I need to. I can plug it in. It's got radio and everything else. It's kind of cool. Not very Scottish either, but only because the only good thing to come out of Scotland are chips. Oh, and the inventions that everyone forgets about. You work in a morgue.
Or his government?
Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid that he's completely wrong in what he says about the internal market bill, and perhaps the people of Scotland deserve to hear a clearer.
Scottish Batman is more commonly known, French ferret, as the Scat Man. Scatman. That's funnier than it should be, but people should... Yes.
Account of what it does from him. After all, this bill devolves, which is, I believe, supported by the Right Honourable General Leader of the Opposition, actually devolves power back to Scotland, gives power back to Scotland, enables Scotland not just to take back control of Scotland's spectacular fisheries, but also opens up markets for Scottish agriculture around the world. I may tell the House today, Mr. Speaker, it's a historic day. Because after 23 years in which every successive government has failed, this government has managed to lift the ban on British beef in America. And so...
Oh, you don't want to be talking about that, especially with the next question. We can't be celebrating, you know, us finally getting stuff over there.
And Scottish beef will be going to the United States thanks to the efforts of the British government, Mr. Speaker. And I think that is a fact that he might...
Oh, look at that. Okay, you can't see it. I'm going to have to get rid of this picture. I do apologise. It's like it's a shit-eating look of somebody who can't accept a win. Like something good happening to his country. He can't have it because it's coming from the United Kingdom. By the way, he's in a bit of trouble at the moment with his own party because he actually said something ill against Nicola Sturgeon. Yeah, not even a joke. People have been calling for him to resign because of it. And I'm sat here like, yeah, this is pretty fucking funny.
With advantage, inform his electorate in Scotland.
See what I'll do. Hang on.
I don't know what that was, Mr. Speaker, but it certainly wasn't an answer to the question, and it's little wonder
That one.
that the trust of the government is at 50% and falling after that performance. Here we go again. Yapping, bumbling, mumbling, but no answer. Since he can't answer...
Actually, he did, weirdly, of all the questions he's been asked, that was the one he did answer. Did we lose Texas? You probably did. Mel Clump, thank you very much for the incredible generous donation of $10. It's very kind of you. And hello, hope you're well.
Answer a straight question. I will tell the Prime Minister.
Order. I expect the Prime Minister to be heard. I certainly want to hear the leader of the SNP, Ian Blackford.
I'll be honest. What's about to come out of his mouth is utter shite.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're very used to Scottish voices being shouted down by the...
Oh, you petulant little fuckstain. Come on. You're not being shouted down. Okay? Right? What it is you all voted one way, and as is the case, you voted the wrong way and lost.
The Tories in this place. A Tory government that casually and arrogantly breaks international law and breaks devolution.
And yet the EU blinked. Think about it. If the UK broke international law, but then the EU decided, okay, we don't like that they've done this, but we're still going to have to now blink and trade and sort things out with them at negotiations this week. What does that say about those that you're supposedly on side with?
Has shattered any remaining trust in this broken Westminster system. Mr. Speaker, last night was a defining moment.
Yeah, it was another win for Boris.
This attack on devolution fails...
If it was an attack on devolution, Boris would probably just say, I'm taking powers back, I'm going to take away your independence.
To gain the consent of the parliaments in Wales and Northern Ireland and Scotland, will the Prime Minister withdraw this legislation, or will he force it through against our wishes? Isn't the Prime Minister demonstrating yet again that the only way to defend our Parliament and its powers is by Scotland becoming an independent country?
Lol. You think you're making some kind of profound statement there, don't you, balding fat prick? You're not. Okay, all you're doing is further proving the point you're too dumb and petulant to have independence. Because the first thing you will do is give it up. We know this. It is well established. Hang on, was Cyrene in the chat? I thought I said hello to Cyrene. Interesting. But yes, that was the paper pervert's attempt at trying to make some question, and instead, well, I'll be honest, it was a very salty one. I could taste the salt off the chips on his forehead. Anyway, that was good fun, wasn't it? I thoroughly enjoyed that. Let's go back here, because, you know, I don't want to look at him too much. Okay, we got him there anyway. Sorry, guys. I do apologise. As we're done here, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's been good fun. Please consider smashing the like. I do appreciate it. It would help with engagement on this channel, and I need the likes. Okay. I will be back here maybe on Friday. I might do a little political independent, like a solo stream of my own with some political news. Because Trups isn't here, so it might just be me. I'm okay with that. Otherwise, I've got some videos on the main channel up and a video elsewhere, and some. I've got, you know where I am. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for smashing like. Thanks for sharing, and I'll see you all later. Peace.